leave it for a factor of time which is based on temperatures, wind speed and what have you, the normal seasons rules, before you end up with hay. Now normally in seasons without the Maize Plus, you have effectively wet grass, semi-dry grass and hay. So you have to ted the grass once to make semi-dry grass, or you have to cut it when it's not wet. But Maize Plus adds at least one stage of wetness to the grass. Now at the moment the sun is beating down, so the grass is dry. We never see wet grass, and I believe these mowers have a conditioner in which effectively works a little bit like a tedder and would give us dry grass under these conditions. It would give us semi-dry grass, I think they call it, because then you've got hay that's completely dried grass. And if I cut it while the grass was wet, I would end up with grass, which is not wet grass and it's not semi-dry grass, it's just grass. I believe other modifications to the whole deal is you can't put wet grass in a bunker silo, but you can put wet grass into a wrapper. So basically if you take wet grass and bale it, then it just becomes grass. If you take semi-dry grass and bale it, it's grass. If you put hay in a baler, it's hay, bales. If you put grass, wet grass, semi-dry grass, then you've just ended up with yeah, so I think semi-dry grass and grass can go in a bunker silo, wet grass cannot. Okay, I'll park this on this side here. And engine off. Jump out. So over here we have sugar beets. The sugar beets are perfect because there was nothing in the soil. So we put down, what does it start at? The soil nitrogen levels start at 0. So we put in a load of slurry which pushes us up to I think about 60, might be 40. That's fine. And then we planted the sugar beets and that pushes us requirements up to 140. We'll see what it ends up. I'm expecting it to end up at 100 when we harvest that. Meanwhile here, triticale, yep, needs 180. That's a high nitrogen requirement. That's almost all of it. 180 right down here. So that's a lot. Meanwhile, if I jump over to here, jump to the sheep. Nope, and run down the lane to see our sunflowers. I haven't been up here for a while, which is kind of nice. This hill is horrible. All of the tractors struggle with this. Even 300 horsepower hauling a tedder. The gravity climbing up that hill is just ugh. Okay, so sunflowers, 120. That's actually higher than I thought. So maybe sunflowers isn't a problem for us. Hi, sheeps. The clover is only was only 80, so that's a big problem. Let's check on where's my potatoes field date. Oh, I could have jumped to Hilltop Stores visit. This is quicker if I'm facing the right way. So my potatoes we planted in this field. Again, there was nothing in the field, so no big deal. Oh, they're 160. Oh, okay. So it's really just the clover that's... The need is very, very low. Let's go and find our case. There we are. So if I run through here, the clover, 60 kilos per hectare. Yeah, 60. So you don't want much in the way of nitrogen for clover. There might be some other crops that have a very low nitrogen requirement, but I haven't found them because I didn't plant them. Our cereal crop this year was triticale, and our oilseed crop was sunflowers. Let's unfold that. Lower it. Boop. And turn the windmills on. Let's go windmilling. So yeah, we're spreading this out a little bit, and it does look like it's changing the consistency. I might want to come down here with the fent. Oh, I was going to say the fent with the bucket and see what we have here. I don't have a spare bucket. The bucket has clover in it. Well, base clover. Now, of course, this could be directly clover hay already, and that's something I don't know. Oi, 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 what to do, what to do. I didn't get my planter into the corner here, which is why I have a little bit of a headland there. Let's... Can I get both of them? It's kind of greedy. It's not that easy. I'm sort of tagging that right hand, but I rarely want to concentrate on getting the left one first. I suppose what I could do is empty out that bucket anyway. Come down here, see what we've got on the ground. So like I said, I'm really not sure about this stuff. This could be hay already. Just don't know. Now along that bit, I got both of them. But I'm pretty sure the grass itself is just semi-dry grass. It's going to take time to turn it into hay. Hay's a much yellow colour. So we'll run down here. And the nice thing about jobs like this is the working width and everything else. This really doesn't take that much time to do. I have to lift this at the end so we don't toss that some more. I've heard rumours that tedding the same area of ground twice can end up destroying some of your crop, so try not to do that. Okay, this bit we had the mowers not swathing on the right, so we can actually do a little bit more coverage. And after we've completed this circuit, it will all be just loose, spread out. stuff. And it might be the windrower that destroys. Can't remember. There was a rumour. I don't know if it was true or not. It's not an easy thing to science because, nothing is that consistent in, when it's on the ground. It really does come down to, well, next time I harvest, what was it, field 5, I expect to get 128 bales of clover, because that's what we got last time. Now I might end up with 127, I might end up with 129, I might have some clover left over in the baler from the last time I did anything, and so that throws me off a little bit. But it would be approximately 128 when you plant a field and harvest a field. It's sort of, well, it took me approximately 28 litres of canola seed to plant this field. So next time I plant the field with canola, I will probably use 28 litres of canola or whatever. It's approximate. It's not exact. So you're really making calls on, well, it was 10,000 litres last time, it's 9,998 litres. That's close enough to be called the same. When I did my seed planting tests, I basically set up a seeder at the top of a field, and I loaded the seeder with seed, and then I said, make me a field of wheat. And so the seeder headed out and planted a field of wheat with a worker, and I used 6,932 litres of seed planting the wheat. I then said, okay, reset the game, the tractor's in exactly the same position, the seeder's got exactly the same amount of seed in it, change the seed, the crop selection to barley, go and plant me a field of barley. And I ended up using 1 litre more of barley than I did planting the field of wheat. Now, I'm not saying that's significant enough for us to say, oh, you use less seed if you plant barley. No. Because, the tractor didn't turn at the same point or whatever. It was, or finish a row at the same point. It wasn't quite as there's an inaccuracy there. Now, when obviously, if I plant a field of wheat and I use 1,300 litres of seed, and then I plant a field of canola, the same field with canola, and I end up with 600 litres of seed used, I can fairly safely say that, well, you use half the canola or half the seed to plant a field of canola than you do to plant a field of wheat. That's a fairly safe assumption. So, yeah. Disappearing off into the weeds again. All the weeds are gone on this field because we just cut them all down. But that's a variable on these fields. I didn't clear any of the weeds out, so the weeds will have reduced our yield where the weeds were, but I think it's reduced by 20%, and the spots where the weeds was less than 2% of the field. It's not really a big deal. But we didn't clear, it doesn't make a big deal to the yield, should I say. But if the field's covered 100% with weeds, okay, that's going to be, more than 2%. Next time I cut these fields, the percentage of weeds will probably go up to 5%, then 7, 8%, and slowly the weeds are going to become a significant thing. I'm generally aiming at this point, we're going to be dealing with weeds between the fall cut and winter. So, although that's said, since clover doesn't need nitrogen, I don't need to put down any liquid fertilizer. So what I could do on these fields is just come out here with the herbicide sprayer and just spray them for herbicide before we get to the point where we're damaging the crop. And putting herbicide down will A, kill the weeds, and B, prevent weeds until the next harvest. With grass, without precision farming, what you end up doing is you get one free level of fertilizer because you just cut the grass, which I don't think you get with clover. I'm assuming there's definitely a boost in nitrogen content when you cut grass. So we'll discover that when we go up to the grass fields, probably in the next stream, and figure out the whole. Probably have got all of that. I don't know. So yeah, next week we will. I might collect all the silage bales off camera. But next week we'll go and deal with the grass fields. We'll cut and wrap both of them, and we'll cut and wrap both of them. Yeah, I'm going to use the big shed for grass equipment. You now need to reset the offset to 0, jump out. We can jump in that and get started. But we'll check on how much nitrogen's in the grass field and then how much is after the cut. But cutting grass then generally, I'm pretty certain, because of how these fields have ended up for us, I'm pretty certain that when you cut a grass field, or any field for that matter, if I plough in something, not that it's easy with crop destruction 2.0, what then happens is it adds nitrogen to the field. That's why oilseed radish works the way it does. Any crop that's ploughed will add to fertilizer states, which precision farming means nitrogen. Okay, well, we negotiated that nicely. If I get a telehandler, I probably will lose the link. Replace it with a JCB with a front loader, the 4000 series. I'm going to have to take this to the front gate. How's the tether look? The tether's probably not that bad. I'll skip. Well, we're going to do grass, so to heck with it. We're not putting this away. I'm going to park this. Where are we going to park this? Probably here. Turn that off and jump out. Okay, the case is messy. The header's kind of okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll put the tedder in the outside shed for the moment. The plan was move all the seed from this shed, because this is a big shed and it has a nice access from the side the camera was on. So I can put longer equipment in there if I need to. And put all the seed in here. And as I said, that baler is way too long for this. So the tedder and the wrapper are kind of short. So I can store these in here temporarily. Kind of, if I drive well. But we'll definitely give all this equipment a clean up once we've done the grass. That looks fine. None of that. Okay, you're done. Thoughts. I'm not sure I'm done with this. We're going to have to wrap and bale the grass, so we'll park this here then. Just leave everything lying around the yard. Okay, Fent, you're the guy who usually carries the bucket. Grass is down on the other field with the mower. With the bale collector. Still need to move all of those. Again, no hurry. Just knock these tyres out of the way. Okay, and we'll put this here. We'll grab the bucket. We'll tip the bucket. Oops. Let's not put it into drive until we're actually at a point we want to drive forwards. Okay, so we'll lift that, we'll tip that. That was 991 litres. And we will run down to that Cloverfield and sample the clover. As I said, I'm pretty sure hand tools don't identify loose material on the ground. Unless you've got a mod running that does that for you. The question is, do we have dry clover or clover hay? We should technically call it probably semi-dry clover. I don't know if semi-dry clover is a thing. I do like this tractor. It's only about 150 to 220 horsepower, depending on engine selected. But it is a big framed tractor, so there's a lot of weight here, which does mean I frequently don't need a rear weight, because the tractor has sufficient weight to counterbalance almost anything that you could put on front forks. Does have a lousy turn radius. Okay, so here we are at the Cloverfield, which has been tedded. Okay, this is semi-dry clover, so I can't do anything with it right now. At least not in the way of taking it home in a bale. If I bale this up, this will turn into a clover bale, which is fine. But it does mean that that clover that we put loose in the dry goods storage area is going to remain clover. So all we're going to see is, does it rot over time or do I need rain? And we're probably going to have to wait until fall until we can prove our point with the rain. But for right now, I should probably, I could buy a windrower, strap it to the back of that case, and park it up in that field. That would give me an easy way to jump to that field in order to check the state of that clover. Sometimes you want the bucket there just so that you can dig it up to make sure. Yeah, I like having the Lindner around because of the four-wheel steering and because the yard can be a little bit difficult to manoeuvre around at times. This tractor does have a lot of issues because of the size of the frame and because of how much the wheel actually turns. But, okay. What I will try to do is scoop up that pile of clover. And lift. There we go. See if we can get 991 litres back in the bucket. Or 993, whatever it was I put in the ground. And drop. Okay, so that's a bucket with clover in, and now all we're looking at is probably coming back tomorrow and saying how much clover's in the bucket. And we'll also stab that clover bale and say how much clover's in the bale, just to see if leaving them outside causes any degradation. And then when it rains, we'll probably come along and stab them and see if rain has any effect on them as well. So since we're done producing wool, we really don't have to worry about knocking those partially filled bales anymore. I'm going to pull all of these because they're now in my way for the harvest period. I'm going to be driving through here with either trailers full of beets or trailers full of potatoes. I'm completely undecided which way round we're going to do those right now. Okay. And turn off the fault collisions, watch the magic levitation, and turn back on. That is the nice thing about these forks. I can turn off the collision on them so that I can at least rudimentarily stack pallets. There's still a little bit of shifting. problem I have so frequently with other types of pallet forks is pallets get stuck to them, and then no matter what you do, you're just going to end up with a mess. See, that would seem to indicate I picked that up cleanly. We'll see. So we have 4 full pallets here. 3, yeah, 4, not 4. I'm going to have an odd one. This is a lot of wool. So if I put that down there, in theory, I angle it right, I should just be able to pull that out. It was a clean pickup, that's nice. The problem is